Hello friends, one of my friend recently gave an interview in Fiserve based in Atlanta area USA. Friends, believe me, I have seen many scenario based interview questions, but these questions are of different level altogether. All these questions will check your practical experience as a Scrum Master. So friends, watch complete video with full explanation. You never know which questions will be asked by interviewer in your next interview. Friends, please mention in your comments if you want second part of this video soon. Hello friends, my name is Sunan Sharma and welcome to our YouTube channel's Career Talk. I am an Agile consultant based in Den Haag, Netherlands, and if you are visiting our channel Career Talk first time, make sure you hit the subscribe button. When you subscribe to this channel, you will get 3 benefits. The very first benefit is for your next Scrum Master project manager interviews, you will be more confident after watching real world interview questions and answers from large multinational companies which I am posting regularly. The second benefit is you will learn more about different exams, certifications like PMP, PSM, CSM, PMI, ACP, Scaled Agile. And the third benefit is you will learn a lot from explanation videos on project management, Agile methodologies, along with different frameworks like Scrum, SAFe, and Kanban. Friends, every single week I will upload at least one video for you. So click on the subscribe button right away and make sure you hit the bell icon to turn on the notification. At the end of the video, if you like my efforts, please hit like. Your one like is big motivation for me. So friends, let's start with Scrum Master interview questions and answers. Friends, best way to benefit from this video is to pause the video after every questions and try to frame your own answer and then compare with given answer. Look towards these answers as pointers only and always try to add your real world example, infuse your experience in answers to make them unique. Interview consists of 3 rounds. It may take around 4 to 6 weeks to complete. The first and second round will be the technical interview and the third round will be the HR round. The first question is, during sprint review meeting, product owner decline a fully created user story. What do you do as a Scrum Master? You can frame answer something like, a Scrum is a collaborative process between 3 defined roles, product owner, Scrum Master, and the development team. Looks like you are experiencing problem with your Scrum implementation because your product owner is not collaborating throughout the process. The Scrum team, including the product owner, collectively agree to a sprint goal for each sprint, as well as definition of done for stories or product backlog items (PBIs) that will be done within the sprint. Work is done or not done according to these criteria. There is no framework provision for rejecting work that has met the agreed upon criteria. However, there are opportunities to iteratively improve the product and to inspect and adapt the process. The product owner should be involved throughout the sprint. He should be constantly available to the developers, part of the daily stand-up, and working closely with the Scrum Masters to track burn down, the definition of done, and other matrices that relate to the defined sprint goal. If the work in progress will not achieve the defined sprint goal, the product owner may collaborate with the team to modify scope or to call an early termination and a return to sprint planning. During the sprint retrospective, the product owner and the development team should also collaborate to improve the quality of user stories and acceptance testing each sprint as a part of definition of done, or make other process changes to reduce the likelihood of failed sprints in future. Okay, the next question is, suppose you have a team of 10 developers working on automation project. They are working on 4 different independent bots feature. The PO comes with more opportunities for automation. These opportunities need to be reviewed, sized, and an effort estimation need to be provided. That is, a discovery session is needed. How do you plan a discovery session for new work items? Considering the PO and involved stakeholders and SMEs definitely can't spend more than 1 day on such a session. The ideas for automation based on previous experience could be completed within 1 or 2 sprints. The development team is already busy working in the current sprint, Do you pull some of the development team members working in the current sprint to participate on this? How do you handle that? The PO comes with more opportunities for automation. These opportunities need to be reviewed, sized, and effort estimation need to be provided. That is, a discovery session is needed. So what you are calling a discovery session is actually a defined event in Scrum called product backlog refinement. Refinement is an ongoing process in which the product owner and the development team collaborate on the details of the product backlog items. During the product backlog refinement, items are reviewed and revised. The Scrum team decides how and when refinement is done. Refinement usually consumes no more than 10% of the capacity of the development team. However, product owner items can be updated at any time by the product owner. Real issue appears to be that the Scrum team has not allocated a sufficient items for this essential activity. This is most likely due to that 100% utilization fallacy or process failure during sprint planning. The Scrum team should allocating up to 8 hours in a 2-week sprint for backlog refinement. This activity should always be factored into the Scrum team capacity planning activities, especially during sprint planning. In particular, the development team should be adjusting its forecast to ensure sufficient capacity for all framework activities, including refinement. Failure to charge framework overhead to a team capacity reduces transparency and often leaves the team overcommitted once the framework activities are factored into the amount of work a team can complete in a single iteration. Agile framework requires sufficient slack to remain sustainable. Agile release planning is based on a sustainable cadence and optimized for predictability and adaptation rather than individual or team utilization matrices. So Agile release planning is based on iteration. In order to do a calendar or a time-based release planning in Scrum, the entire product backlog is given a rough estimate, usually at the level of epics rather than detailed user stories. A fixed sprint length is determined. 2 to 4 weeks are common values. This length should not change during the life cycle of the project without recalculating sprint capacity and adjusting release schedules. A velocity is calculated based on a team past performance or on an educated guess if no past performance is yet available. A efficiency factor for the cone of uncertainty is applied. This is commonly 0.6 for new teams or for projects with large cone of uncertainty during initial project planning. But efficiency factors are inherently variable and can be adjusted to fit currently available knowledge about the problem domain, the team, and available resources. A planning velocity is calculated, that is, estimated velocity into efficiency factor. The number of iterations for a release are calculated using the following variable and formula. E equal to aggregate estimate of all product backlog items, V planning velocity, I estimated iterations for release, run rate up to the nearest whole number. The I value can be turned back into a calendar or time estimate by multiplying iterations by the length of the sprints in week or months, that is I multiplied by 2. Let's say you have a total backlog of 200 story points and plan to use a 2-week sprint length. Your team's historical velocity is 20, but this is a brand new project with a large cone of uncertainty. So your efficiency factor is the standard 0.6 multiplier. As a result, your planning velocity is 12 story points per sprint after applying the efficiency factor. So your release plan for all the product backlog item would be 200 divided by 12 equal to 17 sprints roughly. You then turn this into a calendar or time estimate with 17 multiplied by 2 equal to 34 weeks. Based on this information, your project schedule will state that it will take approximately 34 weeks to ship all the features currently in the product backlog. This is an estimate based on the information currently available and should be treated as a planning value. If a ticket user story is marked as done, the code changes get merged into the master branch. We also at the moment cannot reopen a closed done ticket. If there is a defect which maybe directly can be connected to a previously closed ticket, we create a new one. However, we had a discussion on adding the possibility to reopen a ticket. From your point of view, does this fit the Scrum process? Does it make sense to reopen a closed into master branch integrated ticket? Should this only be applicable for tickets from the current sprint or release? What are the advantages and disadvantages of such an approach? Newly discovered bugs and defects are new work. Therefore, they must be made visible and move through the standard Scrum process. If you knew about the defect before closing the old ticket, it should never have been closed since it likely did not match the definition of done. However, a newly discovered defect is not a continuation of old work, it's actually a new work. All work must be made visible as a cost to the project. This includes defect. Therefore, the rule of thumb is that you should start a new user story, that is, open a new ticket that captures the work and the project value for fixing the defect, and then allow the product owner to prioritize this new work on the product backlog as needed. The ticket can refer back to the previous ticket if doing so adds useful information or adds value in some way, but is still a new work and needs to make its own way through the Scrum process, including backlog refinement, estimation, eventually transfer to a sprint backlog whenever it's accepted during the sprint planning. The next question is, Scrum team needs an API to retrieve data. It's not complicated. Essentially, it's just one request that gets sent to the API and then API returns some data. This is the end of the journey. Problem is that the team designing the API is using Waterfall. The Waterfall team is also designing the API to cater for numerous other teams needing differing version of data return. This aims to have multiple projects managers and program managers sitting on the top of the actual development team, and they are not located in the same city. How do you suggest your Scrum team work with them? The question over here is how Scrum team work with teams which are still following the waterfall. First of all, make it known to your stakeholders that there is a project risk in your project. The waterfall team is asking for things that you don't have at the start of your project. To mitigate this risk, you can analyze your current backlog for items that may affect the data that you need to exchange with the system, developed by other teams. Refine those use stories to such a level that you can proactively write the requirements for what you might need in the future. In this process, also use the experience from the team to predict possible likely future changes to the backlog that affect this. In this process, you are probably asking for more than you will actually use because some stories get dropped or predicted changes don't come about. But that is the cost of dealing with the waterfall team. Additionally, we can try to negotiate a lenient and efficient change request process with the waterfall team so that it becomes easier to request changes after the initial requirements were baseline. If you have that in place, you don't have to analyze the backlog items as deeply and you can keep the less likely changes out of the initial requirement. Since you are interfacing with the waterfall team's code via an API, just pretend you're hiring an outside contractor to create that code for you. The Scrum rules for how you write your code don't apply to them. You submit your requirements to them, they write up a formal statement of work for what they will do for you, which might go through some back and forth before both sides agree. Once everyone signed off on it, they go implement their code. Meanwhile, someone on your team should create a dummy that uses the contracted API so that you can start writing code that interface with it. As soon as whatever team's code is usable, substitute it. Story point is convenient because it is relative and not related with time. All estimates are based on comparison with a common basis. But what if the two stories have completely different bases? Let's look for an example that is not related to any specific area, like digging a pit. Let's assume that it will take one story point for digging a pit 1 meter depth. Accordingly, we need two story points for making a pit 2 meters in depth. Very convenient. We don't care about our equipment. If we have one shovel, then one story point will map to 1 man day. If we have an excavator, then one story point will map to 1 man hour. But 2 meters pit anyway will take us twice more time than 1 meter pit. All is good with pit digging. But what if the next story is catching of an elephant? Should we make estimation with another elephant related basis? In that case, we will have two kinds of story points which will be absolutely different. What's your thought on this? Story point estimates work best when they are relational. You're not trying to estimate how much time it will take. Rather, you're trying to figure out if story A is more or less complex than story B. Let's check the given example. Dig a 1 meter hole. Well understood and no surprise. Team confidently calls it a 3 point. Dig 2 meter hole. Roughly double the work of a 1 meter hole. Still well understood and no surprise, 5 points. Catch an elephant. We don't have any experience in this, and that's going to require a lot of specialized equipments. Definitely more efforts than digging a 2 meter hole. There is also a lot of unknowns in it, so the team goes for a 13. Because catching an elephant is so new, they may even create a research spike to send someone off to research how to catch an elephant. Next question is, what is your achievement and failure as a Scrum Master? There's no success for a Scrum Master unless the team also succeed. And for that, we must learn to work with the team. Working with team means that we are constantly enabling the team and not doing their work for them, not solving their problems for them, and not taking over their meetings for them. As a Scrum Master, we should help the team define their purpose so that the team finds their own definition of success. We can't force anyone to do anything. Rather, we must ensure that the reason to do something are clear and accepted. One of our team failed because they were focusing on the how and never really thought about the why of their work. I used that learning to change my approach as a Scrum Master and now always ask why to ensure that myself and the team understand the reason of the work. It is only by knowing why we do what we do that and we can do our best. As a Scrum Master, we must ensure that this basic enabler of the team performance is clear. If the why is not agreed upon, then we must work on that first. With one of my projects, I was away for a few days. When I returned, I found the team lost and the process abandoned. That's a clear sign that the team is not yet ready to own the process. But then I assess what is missing or not taken care by the team and focus my coaching attention on those topics. For example, when I came back to find that team has abandoned the testing for their changes, then I know that the team still needs help understanding that part of the work. Thank you friends for watching. I am sure you have learned something new today. Do not forget for upcoming second part of this video. Please click subscribe and hit bell icon so you will get notification. All the best for your upcoming interviews. Bye. Have a nice day.